Hi, my name is Captain Oliver Pedraga. I'm the Suicide Prevention Program Manager for the Army Reserve Medical Command. Through the Connect to Protect initiative, this video series shares the anonymous voices of those who have stood on that edge and have chosen life. Their stories are a reminder that we are not alone. Connection is strength, help is within reach, and survival is victory. Remember, when we connect, we protect.
I've been in the Army for 15 years, going on 16 years. So I had played soccer in college and I tore both ACLs, and I had to figure out a way to let go of a scholarship and pay for college. So Army, I think, had always maybe been like top of mind. I'm just real team oriented and it's 19 years old. I was a young E4. I was in a relationship, but I was also under a lot of pressure as a drill sergeant candidate. So there was a lot of pressure to perform, a lot of pressure to show up above 100%. And just outside life, I had been in a really good relationship. I just think that I wasn't very mature for it. And we had a pretty big age gap. I think I was probably roughly 22. I was still into college, so again, just lots of pressure from trying to grow up, but also still being young. The pressure after leaving a D1 sport and having full ride scholarship and then not, and being in a relationship where I didn't feel like I was rising to what was needed was a lot. What I needed as a person was a lot. And then I had fostered a kid at the time because his parents were crazy into drugs. So I was a kid raising a 14-year-old, trying to get him some stability in his life. And my partner at the time was almost 30. And I just felt like I couldn't rise to the occasion the way that I needed to. We were attending weddings and things like that regularly, and I overall knew that I wanted that in life, but I just I wasn't ready for it. Only now do I realize I struggled with it previously. I'm sure many people have heard that people who attempt usually attempt again. So I had went through a ton of death at a young age. My best friend, I was a junior Olympic sports, and my best friend had passed away in a car accident, and then after that my stepdad passed away from cancer. And then right after that, my dog died, and it just went on and on and on. And so in the very beginning, I didn't know that it was an attempt, I would say. So this is around when I was 12. I didn't know it was an attempt. I just drank and drank and drank, and apparently I was saying that I just wanted to be with my stepdad. I wanted to go where he went. So that would be where it all started. I think I've been battling suicidal thoughts since a very young age. So again, I think in the beginning it was just a lot for a kid. It's a lot for anyone. There's still people, who are older who haven't had to deal with death in the capacity that I did at a really young age. I went from having a very full family to just me and my mom. So fast forward, I think the goal was always to have that family and to have that back. Fast forward to my thoughts, I think that in those moments, you don't feel good enough to be a foster parent, a partner, a leader in the Army, nothing. There's just nothing that can be said to you to change those thoughts when they get that bad. Yeah, I think in that time, you just feel like everyone will be better without you. Everything will be better without you, and honestly that life continues every time someone dies, so it'll continue when you die, and you don't have to feel the weight that you feel anymore. You just will be free of the pain and free of the the pressure. I'd say so. After the attempt, my best friend busted in, and and my family, and of course my good friends in the military. I had went back to my mom's house and was surrounded by family. And in that moment, they ask you the hard question: Are you feeling like killing yourself? And to look at your mom and tell her that, it's heavy. But I did. And, I went to the hospital, and I got into inpatient, and you see some people who are going through a lot more than life, more than you, but obviously everybody's mental battles seem like Goliath. But when I was in there, it was really hard. I think that it took me weeks. I was just silent in there. You just feel lost, and I think that my outside life, there was a lot of really great stuff going on. I was doing really well in my careers and doing really well in everything else, but I didn't feel like it mattered, right? And so I just was very shut down, but there was one nurse specifically in there that came up to me and was really trying to get me to talk, really trying to get something out of me, and she asked about dance. And I said I was, a choreographer, and she said, well, why don't you teach a dance class in here? Like, these people obviously need something to feel good about, to lift their spirits. And I was like, I don't know about that. I'm not really feeling that. She said, well, okay, I'm gonna keep asking you. If you feel like you could do it, I think it would really help, all these people. And so a couple weeks go by, and I'm like, all right, whatever. But when I did it in that moment, it was it made everybody really happy in that moment. And it just made me feel like I could do this. I don't need a relationship. I don't need a supportive drill sergeant. I don't need that. I can do this on my own. So that was a real big turning point for me. I feel like I left out the pressure I had as a choreographer, so I was a world-renowned choreographer. I was traveling consistently, but I was doing it with my partner. So my partner left me after my attempt. She just felt like it was selfish, and she threw all my stuff out of the house and never spoke to me again. And the Army found out, drill sergeant candidate. I was really concerned with that, and they did. So that delayed the process a little bit, but I do understand now why. But in that moment, you just feel like everything's being ripped from you even more, and you're lost, right? And all of that to say, though, in that moment, once I busted a move in the hospital with all of these people, you kind of just feel like I've got me, and maybe I can do this more than I thought I could, even though you're just in the most pain you can ever. I can't even describe it. You wake up crying, you go to sleep crying, you wake up crying out of your dreams. It's just, you just want that feeling to stop. But again, that little glimmer of hope, I guess, of maybe I can help other people. I'd say after I left the drill sergeant unit, yeah, I would say I went back to my real friends. I do end up going back to a drill sergeant unit and completing it, but my true comrades and my true friends that I've made in the military, yes. It's very up and down. I think, again, as someone who's been battling it from a very young age, it's hard, but I do notice my patterns, and I try to go to therapy or try and keep it in check. I try to do things that I know make me feel good or make me feel happy, or some type of serotonin release. I love music, and I just try to focus on things that help alleviate that stress. But in all honesty, for people who really deal with it, I think it's always there. I know everybody says it, but you're really not alone. And even though you feel extremely alone and isolated, and that people just don't understand you, you're not alone. And to seek any type of help or relief, because as much as it feels like it would be better without you here, it's just a ripple effect of when you're gone, of what that does to everybody. And you just gotta anchor down onto what makes you feel better. There's good days and there's bad days. But again, I think choosing the good days and choosing the fight is a win. Well, I'm hoping these words that I'm saying help my fellow soldiers feel like they're not alone, and that my voice gives them some courage, and that these words continue to help people get the mental help that they need, and maybe including like being able to speak about this someday, like I'm doing. I've been there. That gut feeling isn't always gonna be there, and it gets better, it gets easier. You've just gotta invest in the process and believe that it's worth it.
If you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal ideations, reach out. There is help out there. You deserve to live. As a fellow soldier, I encourage you to connect to protect. And remember, it's okay to not be okay.